Good evening. We're here with Lawrence Chiulli, candidate for the New York State Assembly for the 95th Assembly District. Lawrence, thanks for coming by tonight.
Yeah, no problem.
Appreciate your time. First, for the audience, you're new on the political scene. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right, so first thing I'd like to say is I enlisted in the Army National Guard when I graduated from Croton High School. And I'm 11 Bravo and infantryman. And I'm also an Eagle Scout. When I graduated high school, I received a congressional nomination from Nita Lowey to go to Merchant Marine Academy. I've worked on a few campaigns, and I was interested in running, and now I'm gonna try to make the leap for a state race.
Okay, when you say you're interested in running, why are you interested in running for the State Assembly?
I'm interested in running because right now, the person that is currently in there has been in for 26 years. And counting, and I think that we need to get some new eyes on things. I think it's time for a change, time to just look at everything and say, all right, this is a little bit different. There's so many things affecting our area right now that might be bypassed due to the federal things that are going on and everything, and it's easy to see that the state is being forgotten.
What's your plan for Peekskill? What are some of the issues that you think you can help the people here in Peekskill?
In Peekskill, my grandmother lives in Riverbend.
Okay.
Yeah,
so you know Peekskill very well.
I know Peekskill very well. I used to play at Franklin Park. I used to go up and play at Franklin Park when I was younger, and befriended a lot of people in Peekskill. And I'm mainly the number one thing, at least in Riverbend, is my opposition proposed a bill to assess taxes in condos the same as a single family home, regular house. And I think that it'll destroy Riverbend and other condominiums around the area.
Yeah, just and so what you're referring to, condominiums are taxed basically as rental buildings. They base the tax assessment based on the rental stream from the condominiums. It's like a fiction. Mm-hmm. And so they pay like a $400,000 condominium is not the same as taxes on a $400,000 house. Right. Are you telling me that there is pending legislation or an intent to change that where condominiums would be taxed at the same rate as a private home?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Originally, I actually saw it in one of the papers, and I broke down every single one of my opponent's bills just to see what is going on. And obviously, like I said, I want to do my homework. I know for a fact that, my grandmother would not be able to stay there anymore. And like I said, I was in Peekskill. I've been around Peekskill. The last thing I want to do is see Peekskill people move away.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. You're a young guy, 20 years old, I think you said off the camera. Mm-hmm. Very short life experience. What makes you think you can go up to Albany and make a change?
Well, I think my age is actually a beneficial factor because I'm young, I'm motivated. Not to say age is just a number and 20 is just a number. But I think that I'm very motivated and I could connect the younger and older generations together because I know what both of them need. And I know that I'm going to do my homework, that's for sure.
Okay. Well, you're sitting right now downtown Peekskill. A lot of things impacting Peekskill right now. For example, Indian Point closure. What do you think the state needs to do, and what would you do in regard to assisting as a result of the Indian Point closure? Tax revenues are down, job losses. What can the state do, and what would you do?
Well, first thing I'd like to say about Indian Point, I'm not saying it's the only factor, but 14.1% of our people moved out of our area last year, according to the Cato Institute. I think that Indian Point is a big factor in that, and the last thing I want to see is people in our area move away. With Indian Point, I have a plan for both if it closes, which is anticipated to close in 2021, or if it's somehow stays open. I just would like to say to the current legislator is, where was she? At the moment, it looked like she's kind of staying in the middle and not really saying anything. This is such a key issue for our area. The energy, sustainable energy, the taxes, like you said. Everything is so pivotal, and that's why I actually chose to run now, because 2021 is right around the corner. I want to be in there as long as I possibly can, but I want to also institute term limits if I get elected, and hopefully if I get elected. First thing I would like to do is extend the terms to 4 years, and then I'd also like to cut them off at 12. During that time, I also think that state races should be held in the state. For example, a governor's race. Every 4 years, they should have Assembly, Senate, just like that. I think that federal should remain federal. The reason why I think that is because you're able to understand the state's needs and not federal needs.
Yeah.
So
So you're suggesting in the off years, representatives run every 2 years. Somehow it's going to coincide with the gubernatorial elections, or would you do that in odd years? Is that what you're saying?
yes, I would do the state races on the same time, and then
In the odd years?
yes,
Yeah,
and on the odd years,
yeah,
yes.
okay. So, 3 terms for the assembly. So if you get elected, you're going to be out of there by age 32. Doesn't that deprive us of experience? I mean, we have people in Albany, been there 30, 40 years. Your opponent's been there 27 years. Don't the people look forward to having somebody that's experienced in Albany, and won't there be a little pushback on term limits?
I know for a fact that the main pushback will be the people that are in there for so long. Because, hey, I really like this chair, I want to stay in this chair, but at the end of the day, being in the same chair for a long time hurts and doesn't help. Having too much experience is basically knowing your way around Albany instead of actually helping the people in Albany. With that said, though, I think 12 years is a good amount of time. And also another part that I would want to propose is if you were done in 12 years, you could step down and then run again in 4 years, but you know the current issues that are going on those next 4 years. Plus, with term limits, you know what you want, you know what you don't want. I mean, if I were to go in there 4 years, I can't just say as a crutch that I didn't do it because I have to go for re-election my second year. You have those 3, first year you're learning, second year you're already going for re-election. If you learned enough that third year and if you get re-elected, and that's a big if, then you could do something. Why waste a candidate? Why waste 2 years? The state doesn't have the time to afford losing 2 years.
Yeah. No, let me ask you this. Like I said before, or we introduced at the beginning of the interview, you're a young guy, 20 years old. I'm a voter sitting here in Peekskill. Why should I vote for you?
I think you should vote for me because I'm going to fight for you. I honestly believe that I'm going to fight for you because I'm tired, like I said, of seeing people move away, and I'm tired of people waking up in the morning and wondering if they'll be able to stay in New York. I want people to know that the government has their back. I don't want people to go, oh, well, you know, there's an assembly person here, 26 years, she's a really nice person, everything. I want to let you know that if there's a key issue, I give people my personal phone number. I give people my personal information. I want them to talk to me. And I don't care who or what or anything, I want to talk to you. Because I want to go and represent the people. At the end of the day, I'm a representation of everyone who elected me.
Okay. Good. Okay. Lawrence, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Hi, I just had a really pleasant chat with Lawrence Chiulli, candidate for the New York State Assembly, 95th Assembly District. We talked about Indian Point, we talked about Peekskill, we talked about real estate taxation. So I invited him to come over here with the guys from Up and About with Peekskill United. So thanks, Larry, for coming, Lawrence, for coming on over. And,
thanks for coming on.
And talk a little bit about campaigning and all that kind of stuff.
I have a question to start off. So, whatever he talked to you about, what do you want to add to it?
Main thing is I want to, you know, break the mystique of public office. I think right now that people, you know, see a candidate and see an elected official and they go, oh, it's an elected official, oh no. I kind of want to be personable. I want everybody to know that I'm here for them and that I represent them. And, you know, they can always call me and talk to me.
So how do you feel you're being received when you're out there campaigning?
Well, I have a really good rapport with everybody. A lot of people like me. The main thing is, and this is one of the biggest harping on my campaign, is it's funny that I'm on Peekskill United because I think that everybody should be united, not only Peekskill, but everyone. Because
that's a great idea. I mean,
what I've noticed is it's a very angry time right now. I mean, no matter what side you're on, I don't harp really big on party line because I've noticed that, you know, what the number one thing is we have to work together, regardless. And that's why I'm happy I'm actually here because, you know, Peekskill United, everybody, you guys are harping what I'm harping on. I'm being received fairly well. The only people who don't really receive me well are people that are not on the same party line as me and they're kind of a radical. You know, for example, I went to a ShopRite in Kent, and I was handing out my palm cards. And if they don't want one, have a great day. You know, I'm here. I want to just be nice to people. But unfortunately, I think somebody took matters into their own hands and rammed my car with a shopping cart because they didn't believe in the same thing as me. I think that is a little unfortunate, but I'm going to still, meet people. That's what I got to do.
That's a little hardcore, actually.
Yeah, no, and it's the radicalism that's the bad thing. You have to make sure that if you don't believe in a certain thing, you do that in your own home. Do not do it to other people, because that's the last thing you want to do is fight people. You want to
Sure.
rejoice with people. You want to be happy. You want to be good.
One thing
You spoke,
sorry, go ahead.
you spoke about term limits, which really got my interest. I truly believe we need term limits, because what happens with someone gets elected, the first day they work on their re-election, and not really caring about what the issues are. Things that make common sense. They won't make the right move only because they're worried about not being re-elected.
Well-
That's not the reason you got there.
Well, I think one thing Lawrence did say too is he wants to increase the term for assembly to 4 years. And that makes
a lot of
perfect sense. And really Congress should do that because, again, like you said, you're campaigning and then you just got done campaigning, you do your job for 6 months and you got to campaign again. So,
Right. When you're there 20 or 30 years, that's a whole generation change.
Yeah, sure.
It's time for the next generation to come in and work on their issues, resolve the things that are really predicated for them. A dynamic young man like himself, there are millennials out there that have a lot of issues he wants to bring forward. And it's time we let them start bringing that forward.
Well, one thing I could say is, Peekskill United, we kind of all, came on this because, you're Democrats, I'm Republican, and it's mostly about your neighborhood or the place where you live. You want to make it the best place you can, and it doesn't always have to be on party lines. It has to be on the person that has the best idea, and that's someone that will make it work for your neighborhood. Because party lines are kind of crazy now. I mean, everything's so divided. But, you have to look at the person for what he can do for your community. And that's the bottom line, I think. And that's where we all came together. It's really not about, about the division of what party, because that's mostly national stuff. What you do in your hometown and what affects your hometown is what the local leaders, what you need to do here. And that's the most important.
I have a question, and I don't really know the answer to this, but you can help me out on it. What would be the area that you would be representing from where to where in this?
So I'm in Westchester and Putnam counties.
Okay.
I have Ossining, Croton, Verplank, Montrose, Buchanan, Briarcliff, Cortland Manor, Peekskill, Cold Spring, Kent, and Phillipstown.
Wow, that's a
Wow,
very
that's
large
a-
area.
that's
And
large.
if you notice,
That
it
is
looks a
large,
little bit almost gerrymandered,
Yeah.
if you know what I'm saying. It kind of goes up and over. I think that I think that's to keep people in office. That's another thing that I want to harp on,
Okay.
to be honest with you, because I think that gerrymandering is very bad. I do not believe that you should pick and choose where. I mean, some places like California, they look like they splattered paint on the wall and their districts are all over. Now, how are you going to encompass your whole district if it goes all the way like this? If I was in the center and able to go around, you can go with all of those people.
Focus on the areas.
and the
So-
census is coming up in 2020, so the districts will be redrawn, certainly congressional districts anyway.
I'm just hoping that I don't get redistricted out if I have
So
a
that's a
strong
lot of
campaign.
people that you'll be representing. About how many in the district? would you say?
I'm not exactly sure on how many people are in my district. I know for a fact that I need to get a lot of votes to get in there.
Okay.
Upwards of 30,000.
Okay.
It's funny, one thing you say about, I was born and raised upstate, I mean real upstate, not Westchester, I'm talking Buffalo, New York. And one of the things that there's always butting heads in Albany is people who live in Buffalo and Rochester, they're really Midwesterners and they have a different view of things. So how do you think you'll be able to reconcile some of the views of people that live upstate, some of their interests? They want the state to fund luxury boxes for Ralph Wilson Stadium up in Buffalo, those types of things. So how do you think that's going to work out with you, being primarily growing up down here, downstate, with a different perspective on things?
Well, one thing about me is, at least if you guys met me, you know that I don't care who or what you are, and I want to just hear everybody's side. I know that I have to take into account what they have to say, and then obviously in my interpretation and of getting everybody together, work that all together. So depending on what it is, I'm open ears to anything. That's the number one thing.
You know what? That's a very fresh approach. I like it. It's something new. It's something that hasn't been around for a while, and I'm sort of like of the mindset that I can really identify
Well,
with.
that's the way it's supposed to be, I think, is, you're supposed to listen to your voters.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who they are, and you're supposed to care for those voters. And somewhere along the line, I think we lost a lot of that, and we stick to our party, kind of what our party wants us to do, and that's what we're trying to get away from.
Well, Lawrence, thank you for stopping by to meet with, up and about with Peekskill United, and I appreciate our one-on-one, and good luck.
Hey, thank you guys for having me.
Very enlightening.
Thank you.
Very
Thank
enlightening.
you.